What is up, everyone? It's your boy David. I got Carlos with me from the Beard Zone Sports Talk, and we just wanted to give you a quick announcement. Live Thursday, April 24th, we will be live here on YouTube and on TikTok. If you're not already following us on TikTok, the link will be down in the description. But we're going to be covering everything for the NFL's first round that night. So we're going to be getting you the picks before Roger Goodell says it. So if you want to play some fun little bets with your friends to, try and get some easy money that night, definitely feel free to tune in. And Carlos, you got anything?
You know you're going to be at those draft parties. Plug us in your ear. Like David said, we'll get that pick out to you first. Your friends will be amazed and wondering, how in the heck is this guy doing this and why is he spoiling every pick?
Be the spoiler that night on Thursday, but we will see you guys then. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me tonight, and we are going to this is one of the last episodes that we are going to be doing before the draft, but we're going to be breaking down the offensive linemen, the top prospects coming into this year. Last week, we talked about the defensive linemen. Now we're talking about the guys who have the challenge of blocking that class coming into into this year. So, but Carlos, let's kick it right off with the guy from LSU, Will Campbell, offensive tackle, big dude, 6'6", 325. Definitely a technically savvy offensive lineman. He gets to his spot. He's very disciplined in his techniques. I like this guy a lot. What do you like from Campbell?
No, I like him. It's such an interesting draft this year. Like, who's going to be that first O lineman off? But when I think these scouts are looking for O linemen, first they're looking for footwork, hand placement. Do they bring thunder when they hit with their hands and engage? So going to see if these guys all have that. Campbell, he has that. Like, he's got, being a former offensive lineman, like, your grip strength is super important when you lock into somebody to be able to hold them, because we're talking about powerful men here. And
Yeah.
this is another guy. He's got great grip strength, on top of a high football IQ, which is not to offend any defensive linemen. We know offensive linemen are smarter than the defensive linemen. So, got a high football IQ, understands when stunts are happening, uh, blitzes. He's able to read some complex coverages as well, and decipher like where he needs to go. So, he's got some stuff. Another trait you're looking for in any offensive lineman is nasty, and he's a nasty run finisher for a guy. And man, you can't. The nasty level of an offensive lineman, I think, is underappreciated sometimes. Like, you gotta have that nastiness, because the other guy's gonna bring it too. So
Yeah.
he's got some good stuff. It's just interesting. Does he go first out of all the linemen, or Banks, like, Mimbo? Is he going? Like, it's gonna be an interesting draft.
It should be an interesting one. This is definitely a position this year. A lot of the times we've seen in the past with offensive line, there's usually like 2 to 3 top prospects, and then, it kind of falls off a little bit. But offensive line, defensive line seems to always be the safest picks in the draft. But coming into this year with the offensive line, they're all pretty even with each other. I don't see a guy who really like stands out amongst the rest of them. But definitely a talented group coming into this year. I do like Campbell. I mean, you said it. His hand placement is definitely something that is the scouts are looking at with him. But you mentioned the next guy that I want to talk about, and that's Armand Mimbo from Missouri, 6'4", 320 pounds. This guy has an explosive lower half, generates movement off the line in the run game, super athletic, which is needed in offensive linemen nowadays because, I mean, look at these guys who are coming off of the edge. Look at these guys even in the interior of the line. We're not seeing big interior defensive linemen that me and you grew up watching, right? We're seeing very athletic, like super freaks that are even on the interior defensive side of the line. perfect example, although he is retired now, Aaron Donald. Like, guy is an absolute freak. That man should not have been his size and been able to move, but that's what they are doing nowadays. So I feel like Mimbo here from Missouri shows great flashes of athleticism to help on that offensive line to help these freaks of nature coming across.
Yeah, he's a interesting guy because he's coming from a team that lost last year a lot of offensive luster. Like their offensive production went way down from 2023 to 24. They're one of the below average offensive lines in college football, but he definitely stands out. And speaking of freak, he was on Bruce Feldman's freak list last year in 2023. Bruce Feldman puts out a list of freak athletes, and he was on that for a guy his size on there. But he does. I mean, he brings serious pop when that initial contact, and you're looking for that. Those guys with those thunder hands, and he brings it on there. But he's athletic, man. He's and strong. It's going to be interesting. The only thing I worry about him when it comes to like intangibles, and he really skyrocketed in the combine there. So the only problem with him is his arm length. Is his arms long enough to play tackle, or will he struggle against NFL guys that are on the edge that have these super long arms? Because whoever makes contact first is probably going to win that battle on that offensive defensive battle. So it's a little bit short arm, so he could be a guy that could move to guard, but he's definitely going to fit into a lot of the schemes of today where you see San Francisco, Miami running those zone offenses where he can get out in space a little bit. So be interesting to see where he ends up, but super freaky athlete.
Yeah, definitely. And he does have a little bit of a nasty streak in him as well. I mean, you said it earlier when we were talking about Will Campbell, the nastiness of an offensive lineman. I will never forget. I mean, Ryan Jensen, when he was here with Tampa Bay, man, was the guy always starting something, right? Like he's always the initiator of this, but he played that way, and he was good enough to play that way. I think he maybe not a lot of people had respect for his maybe attitude, but they had a lot of respect for his game on that defensive side of
Oh,
the
yeah.
ball. So,
So
but
especially when he's driving them into the ground
yeah,
on the red block, and you're like, "Hey, man, let up," and he's just laying on top of you. And I can
yeah.
only imagine the words he's using, and I'm pretty sure it isn't, "Hey, you need a hand up."
Yeah, no, I don't think it was you know, kid friendly words going down to the ground
No.
there for sure. Let's move on to the next guy. Interior offensive lineman here from Alabama, Tyler Booker, 6'5", 335. I think I said it last week, and if you were, if you've been a fan of the NFL and you've watched the scouting combines in the past, when Michael Mayock or Mike Mayock and Rich Eisen would run a duo, one of the something that Mike always said consistently about these big guys is he's got a thick bubble butt. And this is what this guy has right here, man. Super powerful lower half. Very rarely is he overpowered at the point of attack. I mean, he has very quick hands, can get his hands, on the defense early and get him in the right place. He does have some versatility as well. I wouldn't He's not a guy who I would solely keep in the middle of the line. If I was a team and maybe there was not as much depth and maybe you were in need of a guy to go to the outside, I would trust him. Although he does lack a little bit of speed, so I don't know how well he would be to getting to the point, as a tackle. But I think he has the ceiling to get to that skill set.
Yeah, he's another interesting one. I don't know if he's going to be a tackle in the NFL or a guard. I think he makes more sense at guard, um, just because of he's not the tallest. It's crazy that you're 6'4" these days. You're not tall enough to play tackle. Like it's amazing to me, and it all comes down to this arm length. But he he does one thing very well. He's a pulling guy, but he has very bad intentions when he pulls. So when you watch tape on him at Bama, when he's going out, man, he is zoning in like a laser beam on its target, and it is not going to be like, let me just push you out of the way. He's looking to like pancake,
Yeah.
The pancake turn that every offensive lineman likes. So he's going to be really great when it comes to that. I think that's where guard's going to fit him. But there's one thing with him, and I think a lot of people sleep on. He's a really good pass protector. It's not. I've heard people say he needs to work on that. If you go back to his statistics and they break him down, he's actually a really good pass blocker as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a good asset to any team who picks him up. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how bad you are on that defensive side. The last thing you want to see is a 6'4", 335-pound man coming at you full speed around the edge, knowing that he is a heat-seeking missile and you are his target. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a fun day.
He's probably your more Ryan Jensen guy because he has that alpha mentality, and Jensen had that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the stuff he did wasn't because it was more of a mental thing. Like he wasn't trying to be the baddest kid. He was. Let's not kid ourselves. But he has that. He wants to set the tone early against his opponents, and that's what Jensen had and made him really good. And Booker's the same way, man. He sets the tone early. Like you better come to play snap one against this guy.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Definitely a tone setter, and that's what you want from your offensive line. But let's move on to the next guy here. I want to talk about the guy from Ohio State, offensive tackle Josh Simmons, 6'5", 310. Hopefully 6'5" is tall enough for a tackle, right, Carlos? You were just talking about the height. I mean, 6'5", 310 pounds. I mean, that is the prototypical build of an offensive tackle, man. Super comfortable in pass sets, and he has a very solid mirror technique where he can kind of match the energy from the defensive end coming off of the edge, and he sets the edge very well. So I do like Josh Simmons from Ohio State. What do you like about this kid?
Everything. I think he's the better of the two between his counterpart Jackson. He's a road grader. Man, he's going to be a good NFL player on here. It's crazy that when we start talking about some of these guys, like these are all first round draft picks, but we talked about the ends last week. I don't know if there's enough teams. We're going to have to add more teams because there's too many of these guys that should go in the first round, and there's just ain't enough teams. And I feel bad. They're going to lose some money. That's the problem when you have a draft that has some deep positions in it. They're going to lose some money here, but he's a guy, man. He's going to be exciting for whoever when he comes from that Ohio State pedigree. But like you say, he's got another guy. And I can't stress enough is that punch and that grip strength that these offensive linemen need, especially when you're trying to neutralize a bull rush, and that's something he does very well. And he's going to get that in the NFL. Some of those guys in the middle aren't the most savvy techniques of their passing moves, so they're coming at you full, trying to just push you back.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be ready for that. And I also feel like it's going to be a little bit of a test. They're the rookie. If you're going up against a veteran, they're going to test you out. They're going to see if you're really about it. So they're just going to come at you. And if they can see early, if they can get in your head and bull rush you, it might be a really long day for you. So I mean, I know that's JJ Watt loved to do that. His technique sound as JJ Watt was, man, he loved just saying, you know what, go ahead and stop me. I'm just going to run straight.
Man,
So,
that's a masculine thing. Like,
yeah,
God, I just got run push backwards, and I'm a
yeah,
6'6" guy that's 330, and that masculinity part comes into play, and there's one good way to get rid of her. Running around sometimes doesn't do it. You just push him down, like damn, because that's I've had that happen to me, and the only thing you can go is damn.
yeah. It's like, oh, now just imagine Vita Vea doing that, with
Damn.
yeah, exactly. I don't know if you're going to be, hey, you might be pulling an Anthony Richardson after that. It's tapping your helmet. Hey, coach, I need a little bit. So,
That's
but
why you gotta have it. That's why you get two against him. One's not enough.
no, no, one is not enough. There are definitely some guys in the NFL that you have to get two of these guys on. I want to move to a guy from North Dakota State, another 6'5" guy, 305 pounds, Gray Zabil. Zabel?
Sabil.
Yeah, Zabil. Super. he's one of the I feel like he has some of the highest IQ coming into this offensive line. I feel like he has a very good understanding of the game, understand where his assignments are, and he's very rarely out of position. But what do you like from Gray here?
He's man, he's that small school guy, and he kind of reminds me of like guys that have come in the last couple of years, like Tyler Baez or even a Creed Humphrey that's coming in. And he's a guy like when he went to the Senior Bowl, those guys from bigger schools were not ready. He was just manhandling these guys, and he just soared up the ranks from there. So he started making a name for himself. But he got good hands. He kind of his pass blocking kind of equates to a heavyweight fighter. Like he almost punches you instead of like he's putting his hands on you, but it's almost like he's punching you. So he brings some really good intangibles. I mean, he's got
Yeah,
good grip. He's a natural knee bender. That's another thing I think that an offensive lineman sometimes they like to bend over at the top instead of sitting down, bending down on the knees a little bit. So he's got some natural ability. Plus, he got country boy strength, and there ain't nothing that you can that counters
nothing,
that.
dude. Nothing can prepare you for
No,
Country Boy strength, just like nothing
no.
can compare you for the Samoan strength, man. I mean, those two people out there on the field are just absolute freaks.
Yeah, he's got one thing that the other linemen don't. This guy possibly could play every position in the NFL. So he may go in as a tackle, but this is a guy you could throw into center. Like I know he's tall, but I mean, hell, they're all tall in the NFL now. But he can play guard. He's going to be very versatile when it comes to what position he plays. So whoever gets him, and somebody will, he's definitely made a name for himself. Is going to be able to plug him in multiple spots, which is a huge thing for him. If you can play multiple spots, man, you got a long career ahead of you.
Yeah, and I think that that's where his intelligence is going to come into play, where he can move to that center position. Because, I mean, as a Tampa fan, I mean, with Ryan Jensen out, we had a huge hole to fill, and they got Graham Barton, and Graham Barton was not a center in college. I mean, he was a tackle, but they moved him inside because he did have some experience there, and he played really well this year, so that's a huge thing, man. I mean, having a center on your offensive line that you can rely on and that can help your quarterback, it makes all the difference in the world. So
Yeah,
definitely a good pickup here for any team who decides to get the guy here from North Dakota State. But let's move on to the last guy here that we have on our list, and that's the Texas guy. I think we saved the best for last, to be honest with you, Carlos. Kelvin Banks Jr., 6'4", 324 pounds, super like elite quickness, elite, great footwork, fluid hips, super rare ability to mirror and slide with speed rushers. Very clean in his in his pass blocking technique. And you've been saying it all episode. It's about the length. This guy doesn't lack any reach at all. His arm span is fantastic. So, how do you
yeah.
like Kelvin Banks?
I like him enough that if the Dolphins, if he's there at 13 and you don't pick him, Greg Greer, I'm going to drive down to Miami. I swear to God, this guy is a plug and play offensive tackle, man. He 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 will definitely fit most schemes in the NFL with that zone blocking that they do. He's actually a really good run blocker. He can get out in space. And he's got that high IQ. He understands the position, and I think that can be sometimes when folks hear that and they're like, "Well, yeah, no, this guy understands what an offensive tackle is supposed to do." High IQ, he moves, picks up stunts, blitzes. Another guy can read complex coverages. Man, I can't. And he's a great pass blocker. Now, guy we talked about last week did put up a couple sacks on him with Jalen Walker on it, but you're talking about a guy, one of the elite guys. Can't
Hey,
say much. But
Marshawn Lynch said it best, man. You gonna get got. Just
yeah,
don't get just get them more than you get got.
they get
So
yeah.
so
But I
that's just
like
the
the
nature of
guy.
the NFL.
Yeah, I like him. I'm hoping that he falls to 13 to the Dolphins. I think that's a huge pickup for them, and
Yeah.
But this is a deep enough draft to where maybe they don't, but I would love to plug and play him into the Dolphins, but he fits in there perfectly.
Yeah, definitely a guy who I think would if I don't know if there's a bet out there, and we are not a betting show by any means, but if there was a bet out there for who's the first offensive line man off the board, I'm looking at Kelvin Banks here. Because like you said, plug and play guy, ready to make an impact wherever he goes. But let us know down there in the comment section who you're eyeing this year coming into the for offensive linemen. Does your team need an offensive lineman, and if so, which one of these guys do you want to see your team pick up? Don't forget, this coming Thursday, we are going to be live April 24th, Thursday. I believe the draft starts at 7, right? 7 p.m. But
Yeah,
we will be live on YouTube and on TikTok. So be sure to tune in to that. We're going to be having some fun there that night. Follow us on all of our social medias. You know them, Facebook all the way to TikTok. We're there. And of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube as we continue to grow. But we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. And until next Friday, see ya.